Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to talk to you about 3 reasons you should eat foods that you hate. Now, you know that what I do is all about weight loss, and you're going to see how this ties into. But let's look at 3 reasons you should eat foods that you don't like or maybe even hate. Here's number 1. Number 1, it shows that you're not a spoiled child. Guys, I'm not saying that you're a spoiled child if you don't like tomatoes. But I am saying, imagine that you're a Marine and you've been out on the base and working and getting ready and fighting and learning how to be a Marine. And then late in the day, you're all going for dinner at the mess hall and you get in there and you're like, I don't like these foods. Okay, I'm just saying, I don't like all foods, but we need to try things we don't like. As parents, we need to encourage our children. You need to have things that you don't like. When our kids were little, we were driving around town and they had a friend with them, my daughter did, and we were trying to decide what to eat. We said, how's this sound? How's McDonald's sound? How's Chipotle sound? Before Chipotle existed. But anyway, and the little girl that was with us, she said, no thanks. The only thing, she said, I'll eat Golden Corral. There was no other restaurant that would work for her other than Golden Corral. That's what I'm talking about. If you got a whole thing, a bunch of different foods, and none of them look good to you, none of them sound good to you, man, that's on you. You've got to learn to be open to those things. And I remember there was a guy, he was wanting to do my program. He said, hey, I want to do your program. I really need to lose weight. He said, but I just need to tell you up front, I don't like vegetables. And I was like, well, you can do my program because we don't require you to eat vegetables. But I knew, man, if you're telling me you don't like vegetables, we got some issues here. Am I being harsh? Paul, I got to ask you. Am I being harsh?
You're being very reasonable to me.
Very reasonable, Paul. Thank you. Okay. I don't like vegetables. Did you know that whatever you obey, you're a slave to that? And if you're going to obey your appetite, then you're a slave to your appetite. So that's number 1. Shows you're not a spoiled child. Number 2, the foods you don't like are probably good for you. like I was, when I first was introduced to avocado, I'm like, don't like it. Don't like the texture, don't like the taste. And then as I learned about how good it was for me, in a sense, I just decided, I need to like this. It's good for me. It's challenging to be healthy in our culture. For most people, it's challenging. And if you're going to say, I don't like vegetables, I don't like these foods, and it's all these foods that are good for you, you're just making it more difficult to be healthy. So for your health, get over it. Now, I realize some people have, it's maybe an issue, mental, texture, rarely. But I know that happens sometimes. But guys, a lot of people think, oh, I've just got something wrong with me, when you're just picky and a little bit spoiled. And I know I went back to number 1. I apologize. You're with me, right? Okay, number 3. Last one. It shows you're grateful. I remember when I was at UK, a friend of mine, Concepcion, was from Panama. And I have a pretty good indication growing up, he didn't have a lot. Okay, and when we would go places, we hung out a lot in college, and we would go places and visit people and go to graduation parties. And I just remember anytime somebody would offer him something to eat, no matter what it was, he would say, sure, thank you. He was grateful. He liked having food. It didn't matter. I never saw him decline any food because he didn't like it. So he was just like, wow, free food. And I think it shows a little bit of an ingratitude, is that the word? Not being grateful when we're so picky. That's my take on it, you guys. I'm willing to have discussion about this, but those are my 3. You need to be okay with foods you don't particularly like, because if you can't do that, do you think you're going to be okay when there's nothing to eat and you're hungry? Well, you should be okay. Your appetite should not rule you. You should be willing to eat foods you don't like, and you should be willing to not eat foods you do like, especially if you have a weight problem. All 3 of these are tied in. Most people that have these struggles are struggling with their weight as well. Eat foods you hate. It'll help you lose weight. I'm Trainer Joe. Remember to train your brain and transform your body.